done Nicodemously, nocturnally, at night, behind curtains, and of course in cahoots with ZANU-PF. And we take this as a serious issue.
Presenting the 9 Chamisa-ISMS of oratory. How to address a public with Nelson Chamisa. There is something special about the way Zimbabwean MDC leader Nelson Chamisa administers a crowd. When it comes to speaking, I can confidently say this guy is one of the best in the business. I'm talking Barack Obama, Martin Luther King levels right here, man. His public speeches are fire, brimstone, eruption, and explosive. In terms of his popularity, this has been a breakthrough year for the young politician. One of the biggest reasons to this rise in popularity is, as they say,
for the eloquence with which he spoke.
He definitely knows how to get on people's good side with the power of words. So here are a few ideas of how he does it. Number 1, be quotable. Nelson Chamisa is like a classic hip-hop artist in the sense that he is always dropping mad bars. Like real mad bars, son. He always goes out of his way to say something that's gonna make you say cause it's his golden rule too.
Massaging and romancing the result beyond the limits of what is known and what is common.
Oh, and at the recent August inquiry, he was having nothing short of a vocabulary wet dream.
No gun. The only gun we've had is the Constitution. The Constitution is our gun. That's why we always go to the constitutional platforms. Honorable Chair, I must say, for the record, my hands are clean. My conscience is very clear. My resolve is unbreakable. And my heart is pure. These hands you see have not spilled blood. These are clean hands. And we've stated that we will not walk or swim to stand in a sea of blood.
Whoa, he sure has a way with words, eh? Number 2, creating your own words is a definite bonus. As an English student, I ain't ashamed to admit that this guy sometimes takes me back to jargon school. Part of the reason is cause he is a black Shakespeare who is always making up his own words.
It's not a problem. Demonstrating and demonstrating is a problem.
He be using crazy self-invented words like thugocracy, an obvious fusion between thug and democracy, demonstrating, demonstrate plus destroying, and demonstrating, a fusion between demonstrate and distracting. In linguistics, this is a common method of how words are invented called clipping and joining. These words are of course unheard of, but so conveniently constructed they always deliver on the points that they are supposed to make, while also reminding you how intelligent he is. Number 3, never run out of words. Flow like a river, you know what I mean? The MDC Alliance president appears to always have 7 or 8 sentences embedded in his brain ready to be said, even when responding to a question he has never even heard before. It's amazing. You can never back Chamisa into a corner. It is almost impossible to do so. That Hard Talk interview this year back in is a great example. This show has a notorious reputation for firing some really hard-knock questions to many great politicians have failed to handle.
Charged with what? Charged with having, tried to put, I think he was...
hospice near Guildford that I'm a patron of.
You say Jade's happy, and I appreciate you've had long chats with her about all this, but she's obviously a very vulnerable woman, and she's dying.
Let's just call it this. Just don't mind the tone of all this. I've got so much on the plate, I really don't need this, George. You quoted me interviews I did.
Chamisa impressively held his ground through the whole thing.
a problem that's been dogging a country for years, fix it in 2 weeks. That just sounds silly.
During the inclusive government, with all due respect, Mr. Saka, during the inclusive government, when I was Minister of ICT, Mr. BT, who is my colleague, was the Minister of Finance, we fixed this problem within a matter of 4 days. There was cash across the board in all the banks. So it's not just a question of hyperbole, it's not just a question of political promises. We know our competence, we have a track record, we can be trusted, we can deliver.
Till after the election, i.e. that you would like to see the sanctions remain as long as Emerson Mnangagwa was in power?
Certainly not.
So you want the sanctions lifted as soon as possible?
We have said sanctions are not good for the country, but it takes two to tango. We must also have our obligation in terms of observing human rights, good governance within our own country, respecting our own citizens, so that we are able to be awesome of nations.
Emma, it reminds me of the promise you made to party supporters in Chinhoyi, saying you're going to build a bullet train from Bulawayo to Harare. You said that under your tutelage, this infrastructure will allow people to travel from the one city to the other in 35 minutes. I mean, that is beyond nonsense. That's just complete Alice in Wonderland.
That is the future. I'm a visionary. I'm a young man, and I've said we must begin to build infrastructure, such as the infrastructure you have in the UK.
What many people may overlook because of his confidence and articulation, when things get really tricky for him, he can straightforward lie until he later comes up with a clever justification for that lie.
You'd seen Donald Trump. You claimed you had a conversation with him in which you said he asked you how much you needed to move the country forward. You told him $15 billion, and he said to you that he would provide the money if you won the election. That was not true, was it? $1 billion.
All those statements were said by other people, not what I said.
Well, no, because there is a video which shows you at a rally in January back home in Zimbabwe saying that Donald Trump had pretty much promised you $15 billion.
I said we met the Trump administration.
So to be clear, because some people in Zimbabwe are still confused, you're now telling me you did not meet Donald Trump.
We did not.
No.
We met the Trump administration. And that's the point I made.
As you can see, he's good at that. And number 4, confidence has no budget. Never show any trace of doubt in your abilities. When Chamisa starts a narration, he cuts straight to the chase and trends fiercely on that sacred point that you fear. No matter how dangerous, sensitive, or even hopeless the situation may seem, Chamisa always sticks to this bold, confrontational style of speaking. Of course, these days, the main issue is about his stolen elections. Unlike the late great Morgan Tsvangirai, who looked somewhat defeated when his elections were stolen in the 2008 post-election address, his successor is a little different.
This election, as far as we are concerned, this election as a presidential result is fraudulent, illegal, illegitimate, and characterized by serious credibility gaps and some serious legitimacy issues that we feel must be raised.
He repeats his grievances with the ZAC and ZANU-PF every chance he gets and through to the end. He has never showed any sign of wavering his beliefs that he is intelligent, a born leader, and most importantly, the rightful president.
He must allow this young man to do his job, which I was elected by the people of Zimbabwe to do.
Number 5, be a little poetic. Chamisa tends to be poetic quite a lot in the way he speaks. He always creates a sort of artistic rhythm, such as here when he's addressing the post-election shooting in Harare city last year in August.
We do not believe in use of weapons of war against anyone. And this is why we find it very difficult that the thank you we are getting for being peaceful, the thank you we are getting for being law-abiding, is a thank you of bullets, is a thank you of guns, is a thank you of bombs, is a thank you of grenades, is a thank you of tanks on the street.
See what he did there? What he did there in poetry is what we call a refrain. Repetition of sentences or ideas to consolidate a point. Chamisa loves to do this and does it quite often. He often uses different complex words that mean the same thing to further make sure that everyone understands him, and of course show people what an educated, smart and well-groomed gentleman he is.
Throughout this election, as you know, we have had problems with ZEC, which has proved to be opaque, partisan, arrogant, obstinate and conflicted in favor of ZANU-PF.
Number 6. Voice projection. In contrast to Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is rather quiet, introverted, mellow, and collected in his conduct,
I can assure you that this time around we had a very peaceful, free, fair campaign period.
Chamisa is the exact opposite. Even when speaking into a mic, he is loud, extroverted, and energetic as
Sending the SADZA, we have confused Mr. Mnangagwa's plan to have an elaborate scheme of rigging the election to the extent that up to today, if you were to whisper to him, well, how many votes did you get? He will say, I was declared by the Constitutional Court. He did not win the election.
This may be deliberate behavior to remind the public of the age gap between him and his biggest older political rival. To show that unlike Mnangagwa, he is young, strong, energetic, and still brimming and blooming and just oozing with ideas because he has the blood of youth still running through his veins, unlike his older rival. So just don't confuse him with the Number 7, humor. People gravitate towards humor, and Chamisa understands this very well. Even when addressing serious issues, he always keeps it light-hearted by cracking a few witty jokes, usually at Mnangagwa's expense. Just to release tension in the room. One great line is that at the post-election address back in August.
The second one is their poorly done rigging. Mr. Mugabe was at least sophisticated, as a fraudster. But this fraudster is so pedestrian. The numbers that they even presented do not even add up. I suppose they borrowed from my brother Mnangagwa, who said 10 plus 4 equals to 40.
Not only do these jokes release tension in the room, they humanize him. They make him more relatable to the public by mocking a common enemy. Number 8. It doesn't kill to be polite. Chamisa is polite, like really abnormally polite. He dishes out compliments like he's giving out frisbees.
You have done fantastically well. Is that we want to thank our journalists. Yes, in the international community, thank you. You have shown that you are able to show us the possibility of another way.
I appreciate that they watched some of the rallies. I'm very honored. Thank you very much.
As observer missions, thank you also for standing with the people of Zimbabwe.
Thank you for making a way all the way from the UK. You are far away from the Queen's comfort and harmony.
What is one thing I like about him the most? Because it is so rare and rather refreshing to see someone who gives our compliment, especially in our stingy African society. Just saying something nice to someone here sometimes seems like a taboo. People just don't compliment each other that much. Even Zimbabwe dancehall artist Killer T knows that. This is even more rare for the pompous African politician, but his strong religious background has an influence, obviously. Unlike some Christians who only wear garments when it's convenient. On top of his law degree, this guy actually has a theology degree from AFM's Bible College. He is actually a qualified pastor. He can spread the gospel, y'all.
You don't do that when you are in prayer. You don't make noise like that. All right? I don't want that kind of indiscipline. They must cease.
You want to know the other great leader who had a theology degree? Martin Luther King, yes sir. The and Tendai beat his damning testimonies to the allegedly violent and now infamous Charity Manyeruki she was at his mercy. As you can imagine, she was at his mercy as he approached the August inquiry table.
Rikutavhunduka muno mukuti kumberi uku pama commissioners mugere na Charity Manyeruki. Ari iye wevamwe vano ma-architects violence in ZANU-PF.
But instead of putting what would have been the final nail in their coffin, he did this.
It was a great pleasure listening to you. Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you, John. Don't forget for that clarification.
So all that baggage was just differences? Are you kidding me? I have my popcorn in anticipation for this moment. Because I personally thought, like the rest of Zimbabwe, she should have been slayed. But I guess that is why he's the bigger man. I can't deny my admiration for what he did, though. That's Ubuntu. Respecting your elders. Number 9. Listen carefully and understand fully the context of the question before you speak or answer. When Chamisa addresses a subject, he always demonstrates complete understanding of it because, well, he does. A great leader, critical thinker, debater, critique, even lecturer, make sure that they have grasped and understood all the information before they act or pass judgment. And as a lawyer, he is always demonstrating his deep understanding of the Constitution via the other politicians he often schools about the Zimbabwean law.
To my understanding,
Yes.
person,
Yes.
yekubva kwemasoja nemapolisi.
Dr. Privilege.
Aiwa, ndichazokupa mukana iwe later. Can I go along wandanga ndati wanga wachongonzwa chawa nemapresence?
Kana yasumudzwa inotopinda kudarika makweseni ese amuna.
Aiwa, aiwa, you are not supposed to
Verenga mtemo. Verenga mtemo, amai.
Madi?
Verenga mtemo.
I listened to Mr. Mnangagwa over the weekend. He knows that the Constitution does allow us. You are saying, Mr. Chamisa, I've given you democracy, you are abusing it. I said, you are not Father Christmas. Democracy is given by the Constitution.
It is a very effective way to deal with situations former South African President Nelson Mandela used as well. When that vague said Insadza question was posed towards him, he insisted that the question be made more clear before he could answer so he won't be caught in some sort of contextual trap.
Certain videos of campaign rallies were watched by the commission where the statement, the Saja, Jecha Musaja statement, would you want to comment on that? Yes.
Okay. Before I answer, I just want to appreciate your understanding of that so that I can give you a very comprehensive answer. Thank you. I'm just saying this because we want to contextualize things. And I don't want to be given vague and embarrassing questions. I want questions that are valid and so that I give you valid answers.
Whoa. Give me a valid question, so I will give you a valid answer.
Oh my
God! Man, this guy is awesome! Seriously though, if you released a mixtape, I would totally listen to that thing. And by the way, this is what he means by send in Sadza.
Send in the Sadza. We have confused Mr. Mnangagwa's plan to have an elaborate scheme of rigging the election to the extent that up to today, if you were to whisper to him, well, how many votes did you get? He would say, I was declared by the Constitutional Court. He did not win the election.
That is the send in the SADZA. And we are very clear about that. Sending the SADZA is to make sure that you will not have it your way if you rig an election. It was conditional upon declaring a false result.
So guys, thanks for watching the video. These are the 9 principles of speaking according to Nelson Chamisa. You can learn 1 or 2 things from this guy. This guy, as I said, is wow. He's one of the best in the business. We definitely mean that. And one more thing, please do not confuse this with political propaganda. MeMsie is an educational brand that focuses on African art, culture, and history. So any political resemblance is purely coincidental, man. We just pretty much call it as we see it. This is one of the first MeMsie videos. So excited. I got so many ideas, so many things to explore, and so many unventured territory to go into. So really excited. Just keep engaged with our content on these social media platforms, and it's going to be awesome. The aim for MeMsie Africa is for you to get smarter while having fun doing it. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So, till next time, thanks for watching. MeMsie out.